I'm going to introduce Melanie. So Melanie, she's the Senior Product Manager at Splunk and actually serves on the board of the Baseline protocol. With Melanie's work, she's bringing to market a number of monitoring tools for blockchain node operators, and I'm sure they're going to have loads of really cool visualizations to show today because that's what Splunk does really well. So I'm going to pass over to you, Melanie, now.
Thank you, Connor. Okay. So imagine you wake up one morning and you notice not responding. Is it a simple mistake? Is it you? Is it the network? Or it could be due to an attack. Worse, you might have been hacked. And if that's the case, how long have your operation been compromised for? There's only one way to know, and it's to monitor your infrastructure and ledger data. So today, we'll see how to know what you know did last night. Blockchain infrastructure monitoring is an area that we care about at Splunk. In the past year, we have invested time in developing robust solutions for pain points followed by the community. To exemplify this further, in today's presentation, we will first look at what Splunk enables on the Ethereum platform. Then we'll double click and focus on my favorite topic, which is node operations. And finally, we'll explore what is in our horizon. If you pay attention, you may even notice the moment when our mission control signals that not only a single node, but an entire network may be on the brink of failure, causing you and I chills. So you may already know that Splunk is the data to everything platform that allows you to take action on your data, especially your logs, your metrics, and traces. And you may already know why. Splunk relentless focus on security, IT, and observability, and what our customer need has landed us at the top. Gartner and IDC continues to name Splunk as the market share leader across security and IT, and within observability, Gartner identifies Splunk as visionary. But what you probably don't know is that we want to take this breadth of experience and apply it to blockchain. More specifically, we strive to be the best solution for any organization which operates on blockchain nodes. We already have successes, and independent party analysts, Deep Analysis, has recognized us as the top and first true blockchain monitoring system on the market. So as mentioned before, Splunk is the data to everything platform, excelling in IT, security, and observability. But what the blockchain initiative at Splunk accomplishes is pretty much adding ledger data to your event logs, to your metrics, and to your traces to bring full visibility into a blockchain operation. So ledger visibility, what we're talking about is not only your Ethereum mainnet and testnet, but we're looking at variants such as consensus quorum or Besu. In other words, visibility is enabled on Ethereum mainnet testnet, sidechains, layer 2s, and cross chains. Even if we zoom out of Ethereum, and I know this talk is Ethereum focused, it's interesting to note that Splunk visibility is also applicable to permission blockchain, private, or permissionless blockchain. So how do we get all this ledger data into Splunk? So before we came up as a team with Splunk Connect for Ethereum, ingesting ledger data was uncharted path, and we're seeing our customer struggling with that process. And most of them were actually writing their own scripts with variable level of success. But Splunk Connect for Ethereum brought to Splunk customer and the open source community best-in-class methods to ingest data from Ethereum into Splunk and make sense of that data. It also collects node information and node metrics. So we spoke to a lot of customers, and most like to run either their own node or kind of a mix of managed services such as Infura and Alchemy, and their own nodes, which would be either Geth, Parity, or you can think of any Ethereum client. And they tried Splunk Connect for Ethereum. It's working great. The only limitation that I would mention here is that with Alchemy and Infura or any type of managed services, the collection of metrics is limited just because the managed service provider kind of limits the number of metrics that is collectible. Now let's look at a success story or successful implementation of our Splunk Connect for Ethereum. So very recently, Microsoft chose to use Splunk Connect for Ethereum to monitor nodes and ledger data in a supply chain consortium on the consensus quorum. So again, as I mentioned before, it's not only for mainnet, it can be for any type of sidechain, consensus quorum included. You can read more about the story on our Splunk blogs, but in a nutshell, this is a good example of Splunk, an integration of Splunk Connect for Ethereum in a working production stack. So how we came about coming up with solution for the market? Well, we are operating our nodes, and we've also seen our customers struggling with their node operation, and we've identified some gaps that we really want, that we really wanted to address for the market. So some of the gaps that we've identified are, it's at this moment hard to gain end-to-end visibility between all the components of one stack. Most infrastructure are actually quite complex and hybrid. You have a bit of on-prem, cloud, or solely on-prem, solely cloud. Sometimes it's managed. So finding a solution that addresses all of this type of infrastructure wasn't really available on the market. Also, the data that we deal with as node operators, it's a diverse set of data, and the velocity and the format of that data is different too. There's multiple networks to operate from, and I'm not only talking about mainnet and testnet, but a lot of node operators are also operating on multiple blockchains too, and multiple mainnet and testnets. And finally, just tools that are available for logging, metrics, tracing, transaction analytics, and security are all dispersed and disparate and siloed. So in a dream world, we want to fix our mean time to resolution, and our mean time in between failures. Because if we fail less and we're able to fix fast, then we can go home, sleep early, and not really think of our operation stack. So let's demonstrate some of what I've been mentioning before, and look at some of our implementation in our own stack, or how would you go about getting started. And let's do volume. In this demo, I will show you how raw data gets into Splunk and what it looks like playing with it. Also, you will see how do we turn this raw data into visualization that will add into our dashboard. And finally, you will see the art of the possible when I combine raw data in Splunk Connect for Ethereum with a very cool dashboard that was created for the Medasha testnet. But first, let's start by looking into what has been indexed for the past 15 minutes. Index equal Ethereum. Perfect, so we're getting a lot of data here. Why am I showing you all this raw data in Splunk? Well, this is where it all begins. Before we get to see this great visualization, before we get to see alerts, we need to make sense of logs, and that's what we're going to do right now. So first, let's look at our host. It sounds like we have two types of nodes. We have an Alchemy node and a Geth node. And just by looking at the volume of logs that is coming from our Alchemy node, I can already tell that this is my primary node. Some interesting information that we're getting from our source type is what kind of logs that are getting into our Splunk instance. And it sounds like we have 5 kinds of logs. First, transaction event. So that's probably when a smart contract emit an event. We have transaction. So an Ethereum transaction being a Alice to Bob ETH transfer. And then we get Geth peer info, block info, and node info. This is all interesting, but for today, I'm just going to focus on my Ethereum transactions. Okay, so this looks great. I'm having my block hash, my block number, contract address. Since this is an Ethereum transaction, the address should be an Alice type of address and not a smart contract. So let's look at it. Yes, false. is contract false. So this is Alice. Now let's see if Alice is sending some ETH to Bob or to a smart contract. To info, is the contract true? So this is an Alice sending to a smart contract type of transaction. We have a gas price, gas huge, signature. So this is a valid transaction that has been signed by Alice. This is all great information. But what if I wanted to have an holistic view of all of the transactions that happened in the past 15 minutes? So exactly our search, and visualizes. So I'm going to do a stats count. Perfect. I'm going to visualize this data. Great. So I have this visualization of all of the transactions that happened in the past 15 minutes. So I'm happy with it, and I want to add it to an existing dashboard. If you address Explorer, perfect. Okay, so we have an existing dashboard that monitors an Ethereum address and that looks at all the from and to transactions that are passing through this address. This is interesting, but let's look at what we created together, which is this, the visualization of all the transactions that happened in the past 15 minutes on the Ethereum network. This is all great. Now let's look at what happens when we unleash the raw power of Splunk. So here's an example of us taking all the aggregated stats, so your ETH client stats, your network stats, and combining them into one command center. Here we have the Medasha testnet. For those of you who are not familiar with the Medasha testnet, is the ETH2 testnet. And we're looking at a snapshot of October 17th, because on October 18th, the testnet starts not being able to validate blocks anymore. And already on October 17th, the story of what was yet to come was being told for our operations center. So let's look at some healthy node metrics that we're getting on October 17th. 124 beacon node. This is great metrics for the network. 82,000 plus validator. Also a healthy metric for the network. Now let's look at some red flag that we're already starting to see on October 17th before the network started experiencing big issues. So chain reorgs in the past 24 hours, 352, and a recent spike. Keeping in mind that chain reorgs is when we have to change the top block, who is the top block. And we normally want to avoid this. This is a red flag for me. Slashing in the past 24 hours, another red flag, 5,343 is a pretty high number. And also we see that we are going to a high plateau instead of going down. So something to be worried about. And final metrics that was alarming at that time is the 88.64% node uptime in the past 24 hours. This is quite low for uptime for a network. So this combined with the slashing and the chain reorgs, I can definitely tell why the health score was 78 and was probably going down as we were getting closer to October 18th. So this is everything for today. To summarize, what we just saw is how we went from raw data to a dashboard in almost no time. But most importantly, you got a taste of how you would know what your node were up to last night. And you now understand how would you go about having a better sleep tonight. Okay, so let's drill down a bit more into node operations. Now that we saw the demo of our ETH node and got some ETH2 network views, let's look at the art of the possible for a node operator. We're currently working on a node operation mission control. If you're operating a node at this moment and you're interested in either providing us feedback on what we're working on or sharing a bit of your node stack and work together into enabling more visibility into it, reach out to blockchain@splunk.com. And again, our email address will be shared again at the end of the presentation. In any case, this node mission controls view applies to any blockchain. You can think of Ethereum, and actually this one, it is Ethereum, and you can probably see it through some mention of Geth on the dashboard and some other pointers. But this also applied to Nandermine Bitcoin blockchain, whichever blockchain you can think of, this is a node operator view that would apply to it. Let's see some of the cool dashboards that would normally be featured in such dashboard. So you would definitely have your network stats. So, and that would be here on your left. And in the network stats, you would see your wallet balance, your gas price, number of entities subscribed to your node, etc. You would have your, again, this is an Ethereum dashboard, but this applies to any blockchain. In this case, you would have your ETH mainnet, and in this node operation dashboard example, there's also Rinkeby. So Splunk Connect for Ethereum node would display your ledger data and your node data. And probably I would also add my token reward if I were part of a network that was providing some rewards there too, and have a live view of where I'm at in that process. And finally, something that we will drill down a bit in a second, but your GEF logs and metrics. So your GEF client has logs and metrics available to monitor, and you monitor performance and stability of your Ethereum node, and all that is enabled through Splunk Connect for Ethereum. So what would it look like to look at your logs and metrics dashboard? So this is an example one. You would see your CPU, your memory, your traffic, block receipt, header, peers, dials. Also, you would probably want to have your the important logs or logs that are relevant to you that would be displayed under all of those dashboard or all of those metrics that you're collecting. Just because the limitation of PowerPoint, this is not something that I can scroll down and show you, but ideally you would also have that. Now, what's in our horizon? Whether your application is in DeFi, supply chain, baseline, we absolutely want to help you succeed. Visibility is important to everyone. It was important for us. It's important to our current customer. And I'm pretty sure that anyone who's operating a node on a blockchain wants to have visibility in their node operation. And we want to provide this in a very agnostic way, regardless of the industry in which you're operating. So we're committed to the Ethereum blockchain, and we want this blockchain to prosper. That's why everything that our team is building is open source. We'd love to have your feedback and to help you in your process of operating on the Ethereum blockchain. You can connect with us at blockchain@splunk.com. Normally, it would be you guys' time to ask me questions. I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to ask you only 2 questions. And if you want to use your Zoom option, yes and no, that would be great. We were supposed to use polls, but we're having a bit of technical difficulty. And then I promise I will give you at least 15 minutes to ask questions. So first question that I have for you is, is anyone on the call, or actually, even if you're not running an Ethereum node, just signal with a no, but who on the call is running an Ethereum node? So if you want to use yes and no, that would be great. And I'll be able to see it. Oh, okay, let's see, there's some chat activity. Oh, it's in the chat. I was not looking at the right place. Thank you, everyone. Definitely seeing it now. So lots of yeses, a couple of no's, yes, no, no. That's all super interesting. Thank you for sharing that information with me. That's very helpful. And then second question is, okay, so 9:40, the last answer that I just got is the last answer for this question, for the first question. The second question, are you creating or maintaining code for your visibility, into your node operation? Meaning, oh, Christian, thank you for the hard line. This is in the chat. So second question starts now, and it's pretty much, do you have anything that enables visibility into your operation right now? Awesome. I think this has been perfect. Okay, I think this is definitely past the 30-second. Thank you for indulging into my question. I'm very interested in, for those who say yes or no, why or why not, and we can direct the conversation based on these answer, or if you have any question, the floor is technically yours. So yeah.
Melanie, one thing I'd be interested to know is, are the dashboards, are they places publicly you can go and see them, or do you need to have a Splunk installation to make use of them? So there's some cool analytics there.
Absolutely, Matthew. So the answer is a bit of both. So the dashboard, the Medasha testnet dashboard, I'm happy to share in the Slack the URL link, or Antoine, if you could do that, that would be great, the URL link to it. There is some other dashboards, many dashboards that are available that we've displayed in our blogs, on our website. I think some of the dashboard that you saw, you would have probably to use Splunk Connect for Ethereum. So for instance, the first part, so all the dashboard that have to do with the ingest of the ledger data through your node and your own node metrics. And the part where we created a dashboard analyzing the to and from of a single Ethereum address. These dashboards, you would have to visualize them through Splunk, yes. Does that answer the question? Yeah, it does, thank you.
If everyone could give Melanie and a virtual round of applause, please. Thank you for the presentation, Melanie. It's really cool, these dashboards and just the sort of information that's available there.
I loved it. Anytime, everyone, feel free to reach out.